Oh.
Shaggy.
Who the fuck are you? You nothing. You nothing. You are nothing. And you will never be anything. Never.
Colin.
Anybody know who you are? You miserable, presumptuous, no talent. You obviously don't have the talent.
And Mike, the Ape Man.
You are everything that's gone wrong in this world. You are self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit.
PTR Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. We probably got some new listeners tonight who are like, man, these guys are not very punctual.
No.
They say they're going to go on at 6 o'clock, and here it is almost 10 after, and they're still not on the air yet. You know, what the hell's going on? Well, you'll get used to it. We got some things to do before the show, mostly sound checks. You know, a successful show would get these out of the way ahead of time. That's not us.
Not us.
Not us. No. We do them right before showtime. You know, absolutely the moment before showtime, and that's when we're going to do them. And I know Mike loves it when I say this, but I rewired the studio. So, actually, I went further than rewiring the studio, Mike. I rebuilt my computer.
Oh, God.
So, there's a good chance this isn't even broadcasting. You know, we could be just, we could just be broadcasting to Area 51 right now. And that's it. Big Brother could be the only ones listening in. And that's it. You just never know. So,
let's see.
Ideally, you would be able to get in touch with the show via Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, or the YouTubes. But who knows whether that's actually accurate or not. You may be watching this just, hopefully, if there's no audio, you can read lips.
No, we're live on Facebook, and there is audio.
Wow. Most successful rewire of my career so far. So.
It's still early.
Yes. Anything can go wrong and probably will. But I will tell you, we are already faring better than we have before, because at this point on a typical show, there would be a big flashing red sign at the bottom of my screen that says, CPU, help! What are you doing to me?
Okay.
And that's not there now. Now it says, hey, we could actually do a few more things. You might be able to open up Chrome if you felt like it. I find that encouraging.
Yeah, very nice.
So, yeah, I finally upgraded. I was I upgraded to a for those of you that are geeky and interested in it, I upgraded to a 10850K. So 10 cores, 20 threads. And I did that because it's one of the better bang for the buck processors with an integrated graphics card. You know, since graphics cards are ridiculous right now. I mean, absolutely insane. And so, hey, go eat. You're being paid to go eat. My dog. She normally by now she's barking her head off that she wants to go eat. But right now, all she wants to do is look at me like I'm stupid. So, hold on one second. I'm going to get her out of here.
You go, do you? Listen, dogs got to eat. I notice also that you got a new flag.
I got a new flag, and it's been flying. It flew all last week. I did. It was my birthday a few weeks ago, and my daughter gave me a couple of presents and said, you got one more coming in the mail. And I said, okay. And she goes, I wasn't going to pay $50 to have it here in time for your birthday, so you're going to get it a little late. I said, I don't care. And yes, she got me a PTR Radio flag.
Okay. That I do not feel bad that is the flag you were flying.
Yes, but I did get another flag. I haven't taken it out of the package yet, but I did.
Oh.
But I do have it. It's right here, and I believe this is another flag that possibly you sent me, Mike. But there was no card.
Yes, I did.
There was no card or no, from on it. But yes,
that was the other half of the birthday gift that arrived late.
Yes. So this is the Free Beer Tomorrow flag, which is excellent. Yes, that will fly next week.
That's how you get them to come back.
Yeah.
Because we always have free beer tomorrow.
Yeah. But it's been great though. I've been flying, like I said, I flew this last week, and I'm flying it again this week. And so on every conference call, everybody goes, "Hey, you got a new flag, but I don't know that flag." And I go, "Oh, let me tell you about it." But she got me. But if we look at this flag closely, Mike, it's not just me. All right, here, look. So
what the hell is on your arm?
What do you mean? It's a shirt.
No. Backside of your forearm. On your left arm.
Oh. That would be one of those sticky things that you take dust off of screens with before you put on a screen protector. Because I got my wife a new iPad, so I had to put a screen protector on it. But what's cool is, so it has Shaggy on this side. Actually, it has, here, let me tilt this up. It has 8-Man up here.
What?
And then down at the bottom, which you can't see because my trash can's hiding it, there's Colin down there.
Well, look at that.
So, yep, the whole show's represented. So, yep.
That's pretty cool.
She did a good job. So, I told my coworkers, I'm like, yeah, my daughter gets me.
I'm surprised she didn't put her name on there because she was a co-host a couple of times. You should have, but
special guest star, But yep. So
folks, by the way, hour number 1 is going to be known as the sober hour. Mm-hmm. Just warning you.
Yeah, but it was just I was really surprised that I got that, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. But I really do like the Free Beer Tomorrow flag, too. That one's definitely getting flown. That's one of those, our job has this, because we work for state government, has these weird rules about what you can and can't have in the workplace. And those obviously extend to work from home as well. But this isn't actually advertising a brand or alcohol or anything like that. It just is saying there's free beer tomorrow. Not, anything else. So I can fly this one without any problems. Now my Budweiser, flag, I can't fly that behind me during conference calls. No. That one doesn't get flown very often.
See, I don't turn my camera on for internal stuff, but when I do have to get on a Zoom call, I do it from this machine. And I have over here, I rigged up so that, Joey fell. I can string up a green screen real quick, and I just have a virtual background, which doesn't work with vMix because I have the cheap version.
Actually, you know what? We could make it work for vMix because I could green screen you. But yeah,
Joey's wearing everything Chandler owns. One of
yeah.
the best episodes ever, next to Pivot.
I've
Yeah,
been
we don't.
thinking
I don't know if I want to do that though, because our listeners are more creative than the people that I work with. So they would grab that green screen, and
Well, yeah.
we don't want that.
Be like when you found Mr. Bird, and I put you and Mr. Bird everywhere.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but you know, and that's the other thing. Like, you know, everybody at work is on virtual backgrounds. I am tired of seeing the same conference room and the same office behind everybody. You know, WebEx needs to get some new virtual backgrounds. I'm really tired of seeing the same ones. I'm actually happy when I'm in a meeting with one of the guys, Bill, because he actually, you know, does interesting things like putting himself in the Big Bang Theory apartment or surrounded by Lego men, or one time he was on the open seas. You know, at least it's fun to see what backgrounds he's going to pick because it's something different. But, you know, for me, I don't even bother. I'm like, listen, if you really want to see what I'm up to and what I'm surrounded by, feel free, because I got a flag behind me. You know, and if you want to see a picture of my grandpa or my Scooby Snacks box, you know, or my Mystery Machine, you know, tin sign, okay. I don't got nothing to hide. And nobody has pointed out the ribbed for her pleasure sticker on my, you know, bread rack yet, so they can't see too much detail.
I was going to say, can anybody actually make that out? If they can, that's a bigger issue. Stop broadcasting to them in 4K.
So I actually thought about getting a 4K camera because that.
Don't do that.
Somebody's got one for like $150, and I was like, oh, that's a really good price. It's got HDMI out on it. So, yep.
Yeah, wait, it got HDMI out.
And USB.
But
it's weird because the USB out only supports up to 720, but it's got clean HDMI out at 4K.
And where does the HDMI in go on your machine?
To the 3 capture cards I have.
Oh, you have capture cards. Okay. Of course you have capture cards.
Yeah. What? Don't you have capture cards? Everybody needs capture cards.
I don't have capture cards.
You want me to send you some USB capture dongles? I got like 6 in the tub over there.
No, I don't. No.
You know.
No use.
No, if anything, listen, I have taken the stance of, and this is partially under the directive given to me by Kim, is if it ain't broke, stop trying to fix it.
Oh.
Because I have literally returned enough networking gear to completely restock a Fry's location.
Yeah.
This is what, before the show we were talking about. Thank God for Kohl's drop-off for Amazon returns, because that I walk in with a shopping bag and show up at the Amazon place and like, okay, here are all the codes. 1, 2, 3. Just scan them all, because it's getting ridiculous.
I'm getting my my Amazon list ready for Christmas, because everybody asks you what you want for Christmas all the time. You know, come like October, right?
Cash.
And well, I just point them to an Amazon Prime list now. I'm like, here, just and I put 10 gig networking stuff on it. I'm like, that's what I want. You want to buy me something? I need some SFP Plus cards. You know. Yep.
Yeah, hello to you too on Twitch. And if you remember us, you're one of a dozen.
Yeah. So, yes, welcome to everybody who is new or returning to us. We have been around for more than 15 years. We've been doing this for a long time, and we haven't gotten any better. So
no.
So if you are thinking,
our equipment has changed, that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. And like every, photos, like every, photography store will tell you, the camera doesn't make you a better photographer. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. It's like I don't know if anybody else ever did this when they were younger. You know, you always have you go to get your hair cut, and they got all those books of all the different hairstyles, right? And you flip through them, and you go, oh, I want to look like that. And so you hand it to the lady, and you say, I want that. And then she does that. And you don't look like that because of this. All right? You know, that guy, better genes than what you got. And we're not talking about
Listen,
DoorDash.
I tell people when they're like, how come you don't turn your webcam on at work for the conference calls? I say, well, first of all, because I don't have one hooked up to this machine. Second, I don't want to. And third, I got a face for radio. So why would I want to broadcast that?
I turn mine on all the time just because then nobody can say, well, how do we know if you're working? Because I'm a big proponent of I want to keep working from home. So they can never say, well, we think you're just out and about, you know, running errands or doing whatever and not putting in your time at work. No, damn it. You see me behind my desk at home. I'm always in the same place. I always have my camera on. You can take a look at me, check in on me. I don't care. I want to sit right here for the rest of my career until I retire. I don't want to go back into no damn crummy office. All right? Let me stay here.
Yes, I have new news on that, by the way.
Uh-huh.
We've been updated. We've been moved from be ready to come back in on a certain day to you'll come back in when your direct supervisor tells you to come back in.
Yeah. You know.
So they've taken the Governor Murphy approach that they're distributing the responsibility to the municipalities. This way, they are not the ones that catch the ire if the decision is not what you wish.
Actually, it was we promised the union would give you 2 months, at least 2 months notice. We've given you the notice. We just haven't told you when to come in yet.
Well, and no, I'm not going to get into it. We'll talk about it off air. But anyway, so yeah, we probably should get to something on the white sheet now that we're 30 minutes into the show.
Well, before we do that, let me just,
yes.
For our listeners, I will give you the quick rundown of what is in my glass.
Yeah.
This is what we're referring to as the Butterstown Mule. It's not in copper. It's in glass.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is 3 ounces of tequila, which is the last of my Terramana in there, an ounce of fresh lime juice, an ounce of orange liqueur, an ounce of agave syrup, and it's topped off with lime-flavored ginger ale.
Oh. Doesn't sound too
Hence
bad.
why I said hour number 1 is going to be the sober hour. Hour number 2, by the time this is done, I may be speaking in tongues. I don't know.
It's the not-so-sober hour. Well,
I left, but I come back.
I am taking it easy, not for any particular reason, other than I was just too busy diagnosing everything and getting everything to work to figure out a cocktail and get bar time ready to go.
Well, looks like we have plenty to talk about anyway. So
yeah.
Yes. So one thing I wanted to discuss, which isn't on the white sheet, is so there's lots of problems happening right now over in the UK with comedians. So first off, one comedian, Sean Locke, died of cancer. And if you look at anything that's even remotely UK-based comedy, it's going to be full of clips of Sean Locke. And if you've seen lots of clips of Sean Locke on like Facebook or whatever, that's why. And then another one, another comedian named Sam Simmons, who's actually Australian, but he's in the UK. It sounds like he's having some bad times. He tried to kill himself. And he's getting help, and he wasn't successful, which is a good thing. So anyway, so I just wanted to cover that, just UK comedy news. That there's some stuff going on there. So here in the U.S., we haven't heard much of that, maybe. So
no,
I did hear about Sean. I did check to update the master record for the potential eventual return of the death pool. I don't know if it's ever coming back, but I'm keeping the database updated. And I figured somebody was going to have Sean Locke. I was surprised. No. Nobody had ever picked Ed Asner either, which also surprised me. Ed Asner just passed away a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been a lot of it's been sad.
Yep.
All the and Marky Post since the last show. So who's left from the original cast of Night Court now?
Well, and
let's see.
Mac Robinson, the guy who played Mac Robinson, passed away as well.
Right. Yep. He's most before Marky. He was most of it.
Yeah.
Wait, Bull is still alive? Why did I think Bull was dead?
Oh, Bull is still alive.
Yep. And
Marsha Warfield is still alive. Yeah, she's doing 911, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, she is. I didn't recognize her.
At first I didn't. Yeah, it took me a minute, but
and then John Larroquette, of course.
Well, yeah. He's huddled up somewhere with Balky Bartakamus, just trying to hold on. They're in a bunker.
And I think John Aston is still holding on. I don't think he's able to go on television, but...
John Aston. Let's see. Is he? Yeah, he's 91 years old, but he's still kicking it. Yakov Smirnoff is still around.
Yeah, he's still around. Okay, I'm trying to find out if one guy is still around. Is he still alive? Tell me he's still alive. Come on, be alive. I think he's still alive.
Who?
The guy who played Phil.
Phil.
I don't know.
William Ute?
William Ute.
Right, but I mean, Phil, the character, is already dead. So.
Yeah, but then Will came, his twin brother.
He's still alive. William Ute is still alive.
Okay, so Will could make a comeback. Yeah, because remember, it used to be called the New York the New York Harmonic, and then it was changed to the Philharmonic because he gave them the money. You know, the Phil Foundation. Oh, and Gilbert Godfrey was a recurring character. He's still alive.
Yeah.
You know, just to be clear, when I was looking through the infrastructure package as it passed across my desk, you know, before they voted on it, I was a little taken back that there was a $2 million donation to the Human Fund in the infrastructure package.
Are you against humans?
I'd like to know more about the Human Fund.
Well, according to Google, it's a fake charity used by George Costanza.
Exactly.
So
it's the epitome of pork. Let's not go down this road. Let's talk about something on the white sheet here, because we got some.
Let's talk something encouraging, like the fact that we may be facing another toilet paper shortage.
No, let's not talk about that, because it's bad enough that like a quarter of my garage has been dedicated to storage and stockpiling of paper products. No, I want to talk about the best news that possibly could have happened ever since the last show. The reversal. OnlyFans' decision to ban pornography from their platform.
possibly the
They
worst,
reversed their decision.
possibly the worst news ever that they could have possibly given all of their subscribers is, hey, we're going to not let you upload when you play with your naughty bits anymore. And we're going to make you take all that stuff down. And we're not going to allow that on the platform no more.
For those who are not quite familiar with the gravity of this situation, allow me to give you an example that some of the older folks may understand.
Mike, no, you can't give examples of playing with your naughty bits on the show. We're family friendly.
No. I should say this is more of an analogy. Okay, OnlyFans getting rid of porn was kind of like when MTV decided to stop playing music videos. OnlyFans was built
I thought you were going to say
adult performances.
I thought you were going to say when Playboy decided that they weren't going to show genitals anymore.
Well, see, that's kind of true also. The difference is Playboy tried to make a go of it. And when their numbers all dropped and their advertisers started dropping, they said, yeah, we were wrong. OnlyFans announced the reversal that was going to be effective in October and didn't even get to that point. They're like, yeah, no. A week later, they were like, yeah, no, this is wrong.
The press guy basically made it to the door that day to leave the office and go home to his family, and somebody called down to the security desk and say, hey, stop Bob from leaving. He's got to go upstairs and write a retraction.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's also we're doing this because the banks won't process the funds, and so they did the announcement, and then some other bank said, "Hey,
wait a second. I got a perfect one for this." They went, "Boo-hoo! The banks won't take our money because they say it's the exploitation of poor people's problems." Wait, what? That's how banks make money, is the exploitation of poor people's problems. That's how they
anybody have a mortgage in the 90s? So listen, here
we have a housing boom and then a bubble and all that other stuff, and the banks didn't suffer.
So Maitland Ward, who is famously known in the porn world as the chick that used to be on Boy Meets World, and is making tons more money doing porn.
Yep.
She was interviewed by TMZ before the reversal, and she brought up a very good point. Kind of like how I have said that it's not the government's job to be your mom and decide what's right and what's wrong for you. She said it's not the bank's job to decide what's morally acceptable to people.
Right.
And she's right. The banks may not agree with the business of pornography, but there are regulations around it regarding age and how far is too far.
Yeah.
So they're not crossing any illegal boundary. Therefore,
the worry is from the banks is that the company that they are doing business with wasn't enforcing their controls for those regulations adequately enough.
And that's a fair point. But there's got to be a middle ground. Not we're not going to take your money.
Yeah, you would think, given the amount of money at play here, right? Now, granted, they didn't say exactly what the main issue was, how many incidents of not following proper controls and everything else was. Not that we would probably ever be privy to that, although, but, if that's the reason why they wanted to potentially sever a business connection, it should have been monumental enough to say, okay, there's no reversing this course. It should have been, oh, hey, they were just picking kids up at elementary school and handing them a camera. It should have been that, egregious. But it wasn't,
listen,
obviously.
The place that we used to get our Labrador's CBD oil from, they used a bank and a credit card processor in Canada. Even though their products were all made from hemp, which is legal, banks still wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
So, and they flat out say in their terms that the charge if your credit card charges an international fee, you may see that because, and here's why.
Yeah.
So something like that, I almost understand. And they probably found a bank somewhere in, I don't know, the Cayman Islands or Turks and Caicos or someplace like that, that they can funnel money through.
I've run into similar issues with people I know who run, say, gun ranges, who can't, even though they may not sell guns, they sell gun accessories like holsters or sights or whatever that run into the same thing, where the financial institutions are trying to, under the guise of being super careful about exposing themselves to potential litigation, they are cutting off those businesses' revenue opportunities because there's no place to bank with them. I mean, we've talked about that even with the actual cannabis sales, the legal cannabis sales under state law.
Yes.
Where because it's still illegal under federal law, those places can't deposit funds. So you end up with these cannabis grow operations and distribution operations who have hundreds of thousands of dollars in, cash on hand because they have nowhere else to put it. They can't deposit it. So, yeah.
So here's the other question, though. Like an OnlyFans, a performer.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this was pointed out that OnlyFans, to some degree, was legitimizing the trade because, unlike some of the other avenues, you actually got, 1099s. You actually got, recurring revenue statements. You actually got, the proper paper trail to establish a credit rating, so that you could go out and you can get a home loan and you can get, a car loan and you can get these other things that the previous services weren't giving you. You were just getting basically cash drops, deposits, not recurring, financial institution-backed statements, right? Because it was going through those international companies like you talked about, right? This was, hey, this is an American-backed institution. We trust these people that you can show a business plan with this and, recurring regular income due to subscriber content. So it was giving these people an opportunity and a revenue stream, a steady revenue stream that a lot of these people didn't have before. So then when OnlyFans came out with this initial talk about, hey, we're going to yank this away from you, then everybody was like, okay, this is really like, it's like a business renting an office location and then the landlord coming in and saying, oh, next week you're out.
Right.
And, it really threw a lot of people for a loop. So, one, I'm glad that it was reversed. But two, just a lot of the creators on the site are now worried about, all right, well, this is a flip-flop back and forth. This could happen again at any time. What's my solid plan?
Yeah.
Right? And nobody has a good answer for them.
And I think that was the other reason why they may have reversed course is they realized, really we're putting a lot of people out of work, legitimately. And guess what? If it happened 6 or 8 months ago, when there was still a decent amount of federal unemployment and other COVID-related benefits, maybe these folks could have transitioned. But they made this decision literally as all of these programs are starting to end.
Colin's laughing. I don't think he thinks they would transition to unemployment benefits because they couldn't
no
anymore.
Transition to another job.
I understand.
Okay.
Colin doesn't think that sex work to waitressing would necessarily equate.
All right. So first of all,
Colin's
never been to a Hooters, obviously, because let me tell you something. You know, some of these these workers on some of these girls on OnlyFans probably would make just as much in tips at Hooters. But like thinking, for example, like the teacher that quit her job because she was making more money on OnlyFans, or the nurse that did that.
Well,
what did she do? We talked about last week.
Oh yeah, she was. Well, what about the mom who had the 3 kids in private school that she had to? They kicked them out of private religious school because she had her OnlyFans. But she made, and here's where your argument falls apart a little bit here, Mike, is that woman made $125,000 a month.
Well,
I don't know about you.
I
don't
understand
know of a job that pays that much.
No, I get that. I'm not talking about the top earners. Like I'm not saying, you know, freaking bad baby, whatever, catch me outside, bitch. I'm not saying if she if her OnlyFans got shut down, she'd be struggling. Obviously not.
Right.
I'm talking about the ones who were just getting by. You know, this was the extra income that was helping them keep the lights on and what have you. Those are folks that they would be able to go out and find a job.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That this was extra income for them. I'm not saying everybody, but what I'm saying, what I was trying to say was, instead of being completely cut off from income, because all of, you know, if any of them were smart enough to set up like a corporation so that the 1099 came to the corporation, then technically they could have applied for payroll protection loans if OnlyFans shut down, which, or some other, the corporation could have filed for something. That's what I'm saying. But all of those programs, all the pandemic-related programs are drying up. Murphy announced today that September 4th, that's it. No more extra unemployment benefits in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much all of the states said the same thing. That extra $300 a week, gone.
Yeah.
So you don't have that income supplement that makes people say, oh, well, I have time to figure this out. This was everything ending at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the point that I was kind of trying to make. That.
Yeah, and it's just
I don't feel so much for the teacher who decided to quit her job and go on OnlyFans because she was making more money, or the nurse who decided to quit. Well, her situation is a little different because she wanted to continue being a nurse. That was stupid on her employer's side. But you know, no, it's the people. It's the women who, you know, were on the street. You know, actually in the sex work industry, and have managed to get out of that and just work from their home and basically just posting pictures or whatever up and you know, making a living that way. That, I think, would have been a disaster for those people. So that's why it was good to see it getting reversed.
Yeah, and they did make the point of, you've got these women who were working in strip clubs. You know, who, you know, the strip clubs, you know, that's personal contact, and, you know, it was risky during COVID, still remains risky. And, you know, now this gives them the opportunity to do it in a different manner, in a, honestly, a safer, better manner. And so, you know, but still make the same amount, if not more, because you don't have a middleman of the strip club management in the way. So, you know.
And it's safer. I mean, you're in your locked house all by your, you know, you're not in a club with drunk morons.
Yeah, there's no champagne room. There's, you know. Yep.
But hey, there's no sex in the champagne room.
Nope. So, I don't know. Am I glad that they reversed the ruling? Yes. But I'm more concerned that you know, the initial decision was made to make that announcement. I wish they would have pursued another avenue to discuss it with the financial institutions before they ever had to make that announcement, because it seems like a different alternative was available. They just didn't pursue it hard enough. And the fact of, you know, that they basically did step on the people who made that platform, because who knew what the heck OnlyFans was before the sex trade exploded on it. OnlyFans was built by that genre. Let's just be serious about it. It was.
Yeah.
Like many things, sex sells, and it created and propelled that platform.
Didn't they also say, they being OnlyFans, didn't they also recently announce that they were going to do like an app that was like oftv.com or something, where it was going to be all the it was going to be free, but non-sex worker type streams or channels? And I thought that it was going to be ad supported. So I'm wondering if, am I imagining this, or did I just give them the way to bring in more revenue without even realizing it?
There is an OnlyFans TV channel for the Roku. It's a new subscription-based channel with access to media and entertainment from creators of all kinds. There is also start your free trial to watch OnlyFans, selling sexy and other popular TV shows and movies, including from Hulu. Naked. There's also an OnlyFans. Oh God, boy, you put in OnlyFans TV and you get a lot of stuff. So there is Naked Bakers TV on OnlyFans. I guess if you want to watch your favorite desserts being made while someone's nude. But yeah, there is an OnlyFans TV channel that gets 1.6 out of 5 stars on Roku. So not something I would necessarily tell you to.
Okay, yeah, you know what? It's probably getting that much because people downloaded OnlyFans and was like, "Oh man, how come I can't watch the boobies on this, man?"
Yeah.
I didn't read the terms of service, and ain't no boobies on this. There wasn't supposed to be, you fool.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if you are interested in Naked Bakers TV, it's only $15 a month. So
no, thank you. So you actually posted up that apparently there's still going to be new rules that they can't.
Well, this was before the reversal.
No. Oh, yeah, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Before the reversal, they had some clarification because they just said no sexually explicit content when they first came out with the rule. And the question's like, but they still would allow nudity. And I'm like, wait a second. Those two things are typically put together. And so when they initially had the outlaw of sexual content, they did a clarification because everybody's like, I don't understand the difference here in what you're saying. Sexually explicit content is not allowed, but nudity is allowed. What's up? And so they basically said, okay, you can take a picture of you in your birthday suit, and you can take a picture of you in lingerie, and you can take a picture of you doing regular activities nude, but you can't take a picture of you playing Fun Dip or anything else, that is a sex act. Yeah. So, none of that.
Yeah. So, anyway.
So pretend you're a nudist and rotate the pictures.
Yeah. So, now, I still haven't been able to find it out, but let's go on to something else that is also we didn't know was happening and somehow got canceled television-wise this time. Did anyone know that there was a reboot scheduled for Punky Brewster?
Yes.
Did we talk about it?
Yes.
Well, we don't have to anymore because it was canceled by Peacock.
Yeah. So it was announced around the time that the Connors was taking off, and this was another in a series of let's bring back shows and turn it into Where Are They Now?
Okay.
And the problem here is Soleil Moon Frye looks nothing like she did when she was Punky Brewster.
No.
So I think people just didn't relate. Now, the other issue here is that it was on Peacock. So this was the first one of this kind. Well, no, that's not true because the Saved by the Bell reboot. But Saved by the Bell also ran a lot longer and was in syndication compared to Punky Brewster. So a lot more people were familiar with Saved by the Bell. I was going to say that this is the first one that I know of that was streaming only, right? So maybe that was against it. But then again, Saved by the Bell, the reboot is streaming only. But like I said, that's got a wider fan base. Was on a lot longer. A lot more people are familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Punky Brewster was 4 seasons, 88 episodes. The original. It was 88 episodes. So it did not even reach the number of episodes necessary for syndication.
Yeah.
That's 100, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100. And I honestly, I do not remember the original Punky Brewster TV show. I remember the original Punky Brewster cartoon, but I do not remember the live-action TV show.
The live-action TV show had Commandant Lassard as her caretaker.
Yes. Absolutely did.
1984 through 88.
Yep.
So let's see. So I was 11 when it was canceled.
Well, you also weren't the target demographic for that show.
I don't know what the target demographic was, so I don't remember it.
Well, you had the wrong part, so let's put it that way. Your sisters would have been the target demographic.
Yeah, they were.
It was definitely a chick show.
Younger.
You were the target demographic for Webster, not for Punky Brewster.
Yeah, Webster was not.
You know.
Yeah, so of my 2 sisters, one of them was...
Webster was for boys, Punky was for girls.
So one of them was possibly may have watched it, and the other one definitely did not watch it.
Let's see here. I'm just trying to see if there was ever like a battle royale between Webster and Punky.
They didn't do crossovers like they did. The crossovers back then was called Battle of the Network Stars.
Yeah, but I'm just, but they did run side by side, evidently.
I gotta admit, I mean, back then I was like A-Team, Knight Rider, Airwolf, Street Hawk. I mean, those are the kinds of things that I was looking for.
Manimal, Automan. Well, Manimal was even before my time. I kind of remember. Yeah. Like I was actually thinking about this the other day. There were some shows that like I remember running like 1 or 2 seasons, and I don't remember a whole lot about them. Like there was a show I seem to remember called The Powers of Matthew Starr. I don't know what the hell made me think about this one the other day. I think there was a show like Young Merlin or...
that's relatively recent.
And Whiz Kids, baby?
Oh, yeah, Whiz Kids. I remember that.
And what was it? There was another one, and I can never remember the name of this show. But I just remember...
Oh, I got to find that. That's great.
They launched a rocket to the moon from a junkyard.
Yeah, I got that. It has Andy Griffith in it. It's called Salvage.
What was that show? Salvage? What? Really?
Yeah.
I'm not imagining things?
No.
I have tried to think about this for years, and nobody ever knew what the hell I was talking about. You just vindicated half of my life.
Salvage 1 is an American science fiction series that was broadcast for 16 episodes. 20 were produced on ABC during 1979. The pilot film, Salvage, was shown in January 20th, 1979 to the highest ratings of the entire feature. The pilot centers on Harry Broderick, played by Andy Griffith, who owns the Jettison Scrap and Salvage Company and is a specialist in reclaiming trash and junk to sell as scrap. His dream is to recover equipment left on the moon during the Apollo program missions. In the show's opening title narrative, Harry states, "I want to build a spaceship, go to the moon, salvage all the junk up there, and bring it back and sell it." Yep.
Okay.
I have.
Okay.
Somewhere there's a Plex server that has all those episodes on it.
Yes, I got to write this down.
Yeah. I remembered seeing the pilot movie at one point. And, so,
of course. Joel Higgins is in it, of course. That guy's in every... Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting shows from that area. I mean, Voyagers, the one with the time traveling.
I have
Voyager, yep.
I have the box set of that, actually, on DVD.
Or Space 1999. I watched the first episode of that one when it showed up on Prime.
I don't.
And wondered, what the hell was why did I ever think this was great? I remember why I thought this was great, because the toys.
I never watched that one. Never watched that one. But I was a big Lost in Space fan. I did watch that.
I'm waiting patiently for the final season of the remake to come out.
I think I was probably one of the few people that liked the movie with Joey.
No, I liked the movie.
I didn't dislike the movie.
It's like Green Lantern. I liked it. I don't know why everybody hated it. It wasn't bad. But,
I mean, would I recommend it to people to go see? No, probably not. But I mean, I own the DVD.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Green Lantern was that it was kind of weird having Deadpool playing the Green Lantern.
But he wasn't Deadpool yet.
He wasn't.
Ryan,
He's always been Deadpool. He will always be Deadpool.
He is so mad at himself for taking that role. Ryan, don't be so hard on yourself. You were fine. You were absolutely fine. We know you listen. Listen, we think you did well.
Speaking of, Free Guy is a great movie.
I don't know, because I don't know. Haven't watched it yet. Haven't been to the movies yet. Haven't had the movies come to me yet either.
No.
So.
I don't want to pay extra for movies. If I'm paying for the streaming service, or if you're giving me the streaming service free because I subscribe on a regular TV, because I know that's rare, don't make me pay extra for a movie.
Yeah.
I actually reactivated my AMC
Of
pass.
course you did.
Actually, they deactivated it for me, but that's beside anyway.
Weren't they getting sued in a class action lawsuit?
But listen, if I only pay $30 a year of your streaming service, don't think I'm going to pay $30 for a single movie. I will wait 2-3 months for it to come out on Blu-ray and buy it for that much.
Yeah.
$30 for a movie, right? I mean, in IMAX around here,
I'm talking about the premiere access.
Yeah.
On
I
Disney
don't
Plus.
do that. No, that's stupid. I don't do that.
No. Oh. Now, Mike, another news article that I posted that will get you just as riled up as the cost of premium.
I know where you're going to go.
You're not planning on going on any cruises soon.
I haven't been planning on going on a cruise. Last time I wanted to go on a cruise here, picture it, Sicily, 1945. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's the last time I wanted to go on a cruise.
Okay. Well, you're not going to want to go on them anymore. They're not going to
Damn right I'm not.
To desire.
First of all, they're floating Petri dishes now. Second of all, they're still floating Petri dishes. And Carnival Cruise Lines. Yeah, listen, I ain't going to go. Okay, so I got two views on this. Carnival is only going to serve bacon at the buffets on alternating days because there's a shortage of bacon. So I got two views on this. First of all, That just means I ain't going to eat breakfast. I'm going to drink my breakfast every other day. Because, the bars better be open. That's all I got to say about that one. No, this whole bacon shortage thing is really starting to concern me here. I got to figure out how to make my own bacon. Number two...
Well, you got to get some pigs.
As long as they're not trying to pass off something else as bacon. Like, don't let me go to the buffet thinking, yeah, here we go. Yeah. What the hell is it? What is this?
I heard...
Vegan bacon? What is this? Smoked carrots? No. What is it? Turkey bacon? No. What is this? Tofu? No.
I heard of another imposter bacon. Another imposter bacon, Mike.
I've heard of beef bacon before. Now, that's some good stuff.
No, this is different. This is even worse. Mushroom bacon.
Fight me.
It's portobello mushroom bacon.
Fight me.
I heard that.
You want to throw down? You want to throw down?
On a Food
Seriously?
Network
Try
show.
and put that on my plate. If it ain't pork, don't call it bacon on my plate, okay? The only pass I'm going to give you, I'll give turkey bacon a pass. I'll give turkey bacon a pass because it has turkey in its name. Okay? I'll give it a pass. It was the original Pretender. What's next? Cauliflower bacon?
I just looked up. Oh,
you really want to see me blow my top? Cauliflower?
Well, good for you. They just have cauliflower with bacon in it. They didn't actually go to make bacon out of cauliflower yet. It's bad enough that they try and screw up mashed potatoes with cauliflower.
I'm the one going on a cruise in December.
Bring your own bacon.
It's World Caribbean, not Carnival.
Well, and Colin, you are more of a foodie than I am, right?
Yes.
To me, breakfast is bacon, eggs, maybe pancakes.
It usually is.
That's all I need. You know? Sometimes if I'm feeling adventurous, I'll do eggs Benedict. But that's very rare.
So I just saw some exciting new news. Coming
There is
to
no
Disney
bacon shortage.
Plus. No.
This is not exciting.
One of
Go
the
ahead.
greatest Disney movies of all time is getting a revival on Disney Plus. With the return of the Rocketeer.
Oh, I don't know that I'd call it the best Disney movie of all time.
It is one of the best
Disney superhero movies of all time.
We all had some different. How do you go from talking about bacon to a Disney movie
Mike, I found another faking bacon.
Not just kidding.
Rice paper faking bacon.
What?
Rice paper bacon.
You got a link for this?
Yeah, I do.
Because I have a theory about this now. This might actually be a game changer. Let me see something here. This could very well be a game changer, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. Okay, let's see. Vegan rice paper bacon. Now see, it's okay, it's fried rice paper. That's the problem. The fact that it's fried screws me up. And I'll tell you why. Kim, when we order sushi, Kim is not a fan of traditional nori, which, for those who don't know, is seaweed. So she gets hers, instead of nori, she gets it with either soy paper or rice paper, depending on where we order from. Now, if they had rice paper that tasted like bacon, I might be convinced to switch over and not get traditional nori when I get my sushi. But because this is what?
Coconut
Why do
bacon.
vegans always have to have pink hair?
Coconut bacon? How the hell do you make coconut into bacon? Zucchini bacon?
No. See, and this is where I get mad at all of these people. Bacon is
not everything.
The name of a pork product. Okay? Turkey bacon pushed the line by saying, oh, well, this is, don't sizzle pork, sizzle lean. Yeah, okay, they didn't even say that they were bacon. All right? You cook it the same way as bacon, it sizzles the same way, it's not pork. There you go, sizzle lean. But calling stuff bacon is pork. This is all... No, stop. I hate people.
I'm sorry, Colin. I interrupted you. You said yes, you were
No,
going on
that's
a
okay.
cruise.
So, I mean, that was a complete tangent with the Rocketeer thing.
Okay.
That's not what I was going for. But we started off with silly things happening with travel. Okay.
Yes.
So what I was looking up was today, new annual passes were released for Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
some people are very, very angry about this.
Yeah, I kind of heard that.
Why are they angry?
Well, for a DVC member, someone who bought into the Disney Vacation Club, if they had the top of the line annual pass, an annual pass that has they can go to Disney World every day, including Christmas Day, and they had the water parks and the picture package, and they had absolutely everything. Okay, that was $999. Okay, well, new passes came out. The price for that same pass is now $14.99. So it has gone up by $500.
Wow, 50% increase.
Okay.
So now for a pass that I would buy, it only went up by $150. So for me, it's not that big of a deal because the prices go up every year. I think we actually missed a price increase, so it's not. For me, it's like okay, it's not that big of a deal. It's $150, but still, I could deal with that. But
$150 is one meal at Disney that maybe you're eating a turkey leg instead of going to a restaurant.
It could be, but still, you got people who are like, they bought DVC at they are there Christmas week. They have a family of 4. Suddenly their costs have now jumped up by $2,000.
Yeah, that's
not
Well, didn't they have talks in January of discontinuing the annual pass?
So the annual pass the annual pass has not been sold now since COVID started.
Right.
The only people who could buy it at Disney World were people who already had one or had turned theirs off during COVID. Then they had a special thing where you get them turned back. So I actually have one currently because I had mine turned back on after earlier this year. So I got in at the previous price. The entire Disneyland annual pass system was torn down and replaced by a new system. Which, at Disney World, at least they're still including parking. At Disneyland, you have to pay for parking for most of the different annual passes. You have to have the biggest pass to not have to pay for parking.
Yeah.
But that's very different. Disneyland is much more of a local park. So most of the people there actually are from LA. Where Disney World is much more of a tourist destination.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's DVC price, too. If you are not DVC and you're just buying that pass, yeah. Anyway, I look at those high level prices and I'm like, do you really, really want to be at Disney World on Christmas Day? Because I think that's pretty stupid myself.
Now, all right, Mike, go ahead. You pick the next one that we're going to talk about.
I'm going to rub people the wrong way with this story because I think this is the greatest idea ever. And people are getting, this couple are getting ripped to shreds about it. A Chicago couple sent invoices to some people, to guests that RSVP'd yes and then no-showed the day of their wedding.
Mm-hmm.
They sent them an invoice for $240 per couple for no showing to their wedding. And I think that this is damn genius.
Okay.
I am.
If
I'm
you
a
say,
bit torn.
so here's the thing. If you say you're going to go to a wedding
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
and you no-show,
Yeah.
the bride
Yeah.
and the groom or whoever is paying for that wedding has paid for your plates.
Yes. Agreed.
Your meals were paid for. Now, my caveat here, because there have been times where I was not able to attend the wedding at the last minute. But what I did was I sent a gift that was at least, by my best estimate, enough to cover the plate.
Okay. I thought that
That
was
has
the rule
always
anyway,
been-
is that you should always
Well,
send a...
that's always been the guide that I was taught growing up, that your wedding gift should always be enough to at least cover your plate. The problem is when you go to weddings where you can pretty much look around and realize that it's like $500 a plate, my gift might be my presence, because but to no show and just be like, let me tell you something. We had that at our wedding. There was a gentleman that RSVP'd plus one, and then no-showed. It wasn't until the morning after, when we were getting ready, we're like, where the hell was he?
Yeah.
And didn't even tell us he wasn't coming, nothing. He just no-showed. So we paid for his meals and his guest.
Mm-hmm.
So after we found out what happened, he sent us a gift.
Okay.
But a couple of years later, when this person got married and we went to their wedding,
Did you no-show to his wedding just out of spite?
we didn't no-show. But I'm not ashamed to admit that, yes, I adjusted the gift based off of how much money I lost from him no-showing. So I'm sorry. This is kind of
You
now.
should have just given him an empty plate and said, "Here,
So
this was
the
leftovers."
Okay, so see, I can't go into too many details because it'll be very revealing about who this person was.
Right.
It was a very unique wedding, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, some of these weddings that I've been to in my lifetime, one of them was my cousin's, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was young. I was 21, maybe 22, if that, and his wedding was at someplace in New York on the Hudson, and the estate that used to belong to Mark Twain. The cocktail hour had better food than 99% of the wedding receptions I've been to. And it was an absolute, you could tell, the wedding probably cost more than my house. There was no way I was covering my plate, especially at that age, but I was also in the wedding.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
if you're in the wedding, that rule goes.
if
out
you're
the
in the
window.
wedding and you no-show, you should get the bill for the entire wedding. Let's just put that out there.
that
If
is
you are
pretty-
in the wedding
pretty
and you
crappy.
no-show, that should be a rule. You have just agreed to pay for the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that I agree. That's really crappy if you no-show. That's like if you're like the DJ and no-show, or the wedding photographer and you no-show. I mean, that just, Now here's where I'm stuck with this one, because for the first time, my wife and I actually had a situation where we had RSVP'd for a wedding this last weekend. All right, so this
Okay.
happened to us. And every other Saturday we end up watching the grandkids so that our son can work. And we had told him, hey, this Saturday we can't watch the kids. We've got a wedding to go to. And so Friday, when he picks up the kids, we go, hey, he said, see you tomorrow. And we're like, no, you won't. Remember, we told you we can't watch the kids. We got the wedding. Oh, now that you say something that is familiar, but I forgot to take off. Can you watch the kids? Because there was nobody else available to watch the children on Saturday. So we're like, I guess we can. Not really what we wanted to do, but no other choice.
You are better people than I am, man.
So
I mean, like, your ass is calling out, or you going on. You better call an Uber and just have them drive the kids around all day long. Because you better do something.
So we, luckily my brother-in-law and sister-in-law were going to the wedding. So we're like, okay, well, and it was out of town. So we're like, here, take the card. It wasn't that far out of town. It's like 45 minutes out of town. And we're like, here, take the card. Tell them we're sorry. We couldn't make it to the wedding. If possible, we'll try to make it there for the dinner. If he gets off early enough, he can pick up the kids. We can get, ready, and we can go, and we can be there for the dinner. If not, our apologies. We just, we couldn't make it happen. We tried really hard, but we couldn't. And so, we ended up not being able to make it to anything. But, it's just, it was the way it was, and I felt bad about it. Well, yeah, I mean, we felt bad about it, but it is what it is,
Well, but you sent a gift.
We sent a gift. Now, I will say, in this area, it was probably roughly equivalent to what the dinner was. Because here, I think if you're paying $25-30 a plate, that's probably correct. So, I mean, here, it's really a lot less, I would guess. It's been forever since
and that's
I've done
fair.
a wedding.
By us, I think when Kim and I got married, I want to say it was maybe $60 a plate.
Yeah.
60 or 75. I don't. Well, wait a minute. It was under 100. Mm-hmm. So I'll say 75. So 150 a couple covers the plate.
Right.
Which isn't bad. When you're talking about like $500 a person because everything's ridiculous.
And this was a second.
I'm not
cousin.
sure about this one.
The cost of the wedding and the length of the marriage.
So the more you spend, the shorter the union. If you're a Kardashian, maybe. Because I think Kim's wedding was to Chris Humphries was a ridiculous amount, and they were married 2 weeks ish.
I think it can. I think it can be a deciding factor because it shows you of the neediness of one of the parties. I'm not going to say that it's always the woman. Sometimes the man wants his day, his special day. So he's the groomzilla. I think it can indicate a severe need for gratification or for the look at me, which in my mind is a giant red flag. It just
which is more important, the marriage or the wedding. Sometimes the wedding's the most important thing, and the wedding's now done. So
I tell because I do DJ weddings occasionally. I haven't done it in a while. I'm doing my first one again this Saturday. So, but what I tell grooms and brides is, listen, you have a ton of stuff going on that day. So tell me what the flow is. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what the schedule is so that people can come up to me and ask me so they're not bothering you. The day is going to be a blur to you. No matter what, it's just going to be a blur, and you're going to feel like you're pulled in a million directions. Anything that I can do to take that off of you, I'm happy to do. I've basically been an ad hoc wedding coordinator at the wedding many a time because that's what the DJ ends up doing is, going, okay, you go here, you go here, you go here. This is going to happen then. I'm telling the photographer what to do when things are going to happen, And I tell especially the brides all the time, I'm like, listen, something's going to go wrong. Something's not going to be perfect. You got to roll with it. And you just got to laugh it off because this is not going to be the most stressful thing in your marriage. If it is, then there's going to be a problem, There's other things that you got to be able to get through and get, over. And so, this day is just the first day of your marriage. It's not the last. So,
Now, what I will say, and this is going to, why not? I'm pissing everybody off tonight. 99.9% of the time, the level of sophistication or elaborateness, is that a word?
Yep. Elaboration.
Sure. Is directly correlated to the bride.
I will augment that and say, or the bride's mother.
The role of the groom on the day of the wedding is nothing more than that of a prop. Yeah. And the sooner the groom gets that through his thick skull. However, during the planning, listen to me, this is your Uncle Mike giving you advice. During the planning of a wedding, grooms reserve, retain, veto authority.
Measure
this
when
way you don't
though.
Wind up in a plaid tuxedo, among other things. Veto authority.
But you better measure when you use it, because you're only going to get so many vetoes.
Unfortunately, there is also the reciprocation of this, that the bride does retain veto authority because, listen, grooms, yes, it is your day, but you're not going to get everything you want. Pick your battles. I got the ice luge at our wedding. I did not get the wrestling belt replica cummerbunds to go with our tuxedos.
Oh, and Mrs. Eight-Man, you made the right decision.
Y'all are laughing about this. I fought tooth and nail. Make sure she's not going to bust in on me. I fought hard from day one about that. I was going to wear the heavyweight championship belt. My best man was going to wear the intercontinental belt. And my two ushers were going to wear the tag team belt.
Oh, jeez.
And no, I got the ultimate veto on that one, basically saying, you can do it, but I ain't showing up.
Oh, that's no. That's
you can do it, but that sounds like an activity for the bachelor party.
The other thing I did get a win on, sort of, was I got fried pickles as an appetizer during the cocktail hour. So, yep, that's right. We if it wasn't for low class, sometimes I'd have no class at all. Hey, guess what? It's 8:30.
Yes, it is.
We didn't even get through half the white sheet, but that's okay.
No, we didn't. That's all right.
There's a bunch of it we didn't want to talk about anyway.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Although I will say, since I know she's listening, I want to say, Mama Blair, one of the items on the white sheet was the revisitation of the toilet paper roll discussion.
We didn't want to revisit. Listen, I didn't want to revisit that because that's just going to end up in a fight.
I just wanted to let her know that the credit where credit's due. She spurred the topic, and we were going to talk about it.
She did spur the topic, and we all fight about this. This is one of those pointless fights. Look, we need to come together and embrace the differences in the toilet paper wrapping based on the number of animals in the house. Because as I have pointed out, if you have cats that are mischievous. You are going to go against the patent, and you're going to go.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me just explain it this way so that we can accurately lose people.
Please do.
If you have cats in the house,
accurately lose people.
If you have cats in the house, you need a mullet. All right. For God's sakes, if you have children or cats in the house, do not have a beard. All right. That's all we're going to say about that.
Also, we can all agree that the one thing we don't want is one of those single sheet dispensers.
And whoever
I will agree with that.
And whoever can create a mullet beard combo solves world peace.
You have a bidet.
My wife and I were talking about bidets in the car ride the other day. And she goes, I don't know about a bidet. And I'm like, I don't know. It sounds kind of interesting. And then we were talking about the features. And she goes, well, I don't know. How do you dry off? Because she didn't realize that some of them have a little, air blow thing, like, a hair dryer underneath. And I'm like, a little bit of wash, then a little bit of dry,
So here's the thing. Next time you're in your bathroom,
mm-hmm.
See if there's a power plug anywhere near the toilet at all, where you could plug in such a bidet.
There is not currently, but I am not blue collar enough, or I am not white collar. Where I will not put in an extension cord into the bathroom.
I got a hairdryer.
I would love to see you bent over. I would. That would be redneck. A redneck bidet is a spray bottle and a hairdryer. That's what it is.
Spray bottle, nothing. Redneck bidet is
a super soaker.
The hose from like the kitchen sink, the sprayer, like one of those old school ones. It's just hooked up via a hose barb. Just
Okay, movies.
Movies for tonight.
So let's go ahead and
not comfortable talking about
let's go ahead and talk about Suicide Squad. That's not one of the two movies, but we've now all seen it.
Yeah, so we did kind of watch 3 movies for this week. So we got the Suicide Squad, which is the latest gun movie to come out, and I'll tell you what. Overall, I thought it was It was just I wasn't terribly impressed. I really kind of got tired of the film style.
I liked the movie. I disliked trying to say it without spoiling it, I disliked the Scream type advertising that they did for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They even went so far as to have interviews with the Drew Barrymore type characters without revealing what was going to happen. And I got a little tired of King Shark. I'm not going to lie. I got a little burned.
Yeah.
I enjoyed everything with Harley, and I especially enjoyed everything with Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, all in all, I wasn't disappointed with the movie. It had just as many plot holes or questions as the original Suicide Squad, or pretty much any other DC movie at this point. But it was fun. Fun.
Polka Dot Man could have been played by Harland Williams, and I think it would have been funnier.
I was actually thinking that I thought the guy that played him was good, but I was actually thinking, what's the guy's name from? He was in Arrested Development and then Veep. Tony Hale.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for some reason I kind of put him in that role, but not taking anything away from who they cast.
Yeah.
I also was a little. I felt like Bloodsport, was that his name? I felt like it was too close to Deadshot.
Yeah.
Like, we knew Will Smith wasn't coming back, and it's like they replaced him with the next best thing. Like, it was that not. I liked his character. I watched the scene with him and his daughter swearing at each other for a minute and a half straight. I laughed my ass off at it for some strange reason, and I was sober. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was hysterical. I thought I thought Idris Elba was great in the movie. I just feel like it was too close too close of a character.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I preferred him over Will Smith in the first one. So
true. But I also don't like the fact that one of the characters is already getting a spin-off.
Well, and okay, so it was the same guy, right? The
Mm-hmm.
same intelligence officer, leader guy.
Yes.
Flag. Yeah.
Flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in both movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, so I take it he's not going to be in any more movies.
Who knows?
Well, maybe. Who knows?
I was trying to
possible.
figure out the timing of this movie and when it took place, or is it just a different one? I was trying to figure out.
No, it took place
before, after?
It took place after.
After.
It took place after.
Okay.
So I did find out there is a deleted scene that explains why he got screwed, basically. I also read that
because he looks a lot more jacked in this one than he was in the last
that's what I was getting at. That when they announced this, he started hitting the gym hard and packed on a ton of muscle so that he would be like the buff guy. And then they went and cast John Cena.
Yeah.
So he was like, he got upstaged on his physique.
He looked
John Cena, by the way, it's like if you can't get The Rock in your movie,
get John Cena.
Get John Cena. That's what's going on now. It's ridiculous.
It was kind of funny because after I watched this, then I went upstairs and the wife and I were looking for a movie, and I'm like, let's watch Playing with Fire. We haven't watched that in a while. That's that family-friendly movie that we reviewed.
Oh, yeah,
about
yeah,
the three
yeah,
kids.
okay.
And John Cena's a smoke jumper. So, yeah. So anyway, that's our kind of review of that.
No official scores. It just is a movie we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to talk about it because why not?
Yeah. Everybody's watching it right now, so what the hell.
Yep.
Okay, so the two movies we were watching for tonight are Redneck Roots and I can't remember. What was the name of the other one? It was
Love, Wedding, Repeat.
Yeah, Love, Wedding, Repeat. That fun one.
So,
all right.
So let's just go ahead and get Love, Wedding, Repeat out of the way. I don't think there's any reason to delay it. Mike, do you think there's any reason to delay it?
No.
Okay, so Colin, we'll let you go first.
Okay.
And I will find the thing since I keep forgetting that my buttons don't work. All right,
that's fine.
Colin,
you don't have to do the
go,
button.
Colin, go.
Okay.
That's fine. So, Love, Wedding, Repeat. When we first saw this, we thought it was another one of those Groundhog Day type wedding movies because there's another one of those that we've seen a while back. It turned out this was more like a Clue wedding movie. So, if you ever seen the movie Clue, at the end, it goes through 3 different possible endings of the movie. And that's what they do here. They're like, well, here's all the different things that could happen based off of some stupid kids running around and moving name tags around. And it's like, okay. I really don't think it went anywhere with that. So the central thing they were trying to do with that, I don't think that went anywhere. I think it was a colossal failure. But I think I enjoyed this movie more than many people would enjoy this movie just because I recognize so many of the British comedians that were in this movie. And it's because I knew who they were, I found it a little more enjoyable just to see them playing these characters. I thought the main character, I thought he was actually a really good actor. He was acting up against Olivia Munn at the beginning, and it was like she was just reading the lines, but he was actually reacting to what she was saying. So I found myself a little bit out of it just because Olivia was not really doing that great of a job of acting in this movie. She just was kind of there. As the lone American in the entire cast, she was just kind of So, I would say in general, I enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give it a, I think, smirk. I think that's still above meh, but I don't want to give it anything better than that because I think it just structurally is not that great of a movie, but I did enjoy it.
Okay, great. All right, Mike, you are up next.
Look, calling it now. That this is going to be a cliche movie from start to finish. And this bloody British bullshit. Here, why are there subtitles? A British subtitled movie? Y'all hate me, don't you? Dude wearing a kilt. All right, let's talk about that. Did he really think wearing a kilt when he is not Scottish is a good idea? Did he think that was going to help him get women, especially women the likes of Olivia Munn, when he... Okay, the husband is Italian. That explains the subtitles. Okay, but how does the husband not know about the ex-boyfriend? That's the 30 minutes in. I'm wondering where exactly the repeat part of this movie is coming in. Because as Colin said, I was thinking that this is going to be like a Groundhog Day. And look, we are a third of the way through. And they ain't groundhogged once. So what the hell? No. See, this is why kids should not be allowed to weddings. And if they are, keep them on a damn leash, white people. Keep your kids on leashes at weddings so that they don't do shit like that, like rearranging place cards. Because you never know when somebody's trying to drug someone. And this is a lunch wedding. A lunch wedding. You might as well have made this a cash bar wedding, okay? A lunch wedding, man, half of my family wouldn't go. This wedding better be like 12 hours so people could get drunk at night. Man of honor is the one going to sleep. Cool. Very cool. And kilt wearing guy makes me want to punch my monitor. 48 minutes runtime in this movie, and the guy says, I really don't know what's happening. And that pretty much sums up how I feel about this movie so far. We're now 55 minutes in. Where's the GD repeat part? Oddly enough, this man of honor speech, very much like the speech that my idiot cousin gave at the $500 a plate wedding. Oh, okay, now I get it. So this is actually a multiverse kind of thing happening here. But, Colin, I think your analogy is a little better. This is more like Clue. Like, so what if this one happened? What if this one happened? The difference is you don't have to pay for 3 different viewings to see 3 different endings. Now we get towards the end, and I realize that the bride is actually like a dollar store Karen Gillan here. Gillan, Nebula. And how the hell did Olivia Munn get talked into this movie? Future Nikes, I don't know. I had an easier time following Noises Off than this movie, or following Inception or Tenet, for God's sakes. Took me a week and a half to figure out what actually was going on in Tenet. I watched it 17 times. I'm still not 100% sure. So I'm just going to go meh on this, because I'm still trying to process what the point was about this movie. Seriously, can one of you guys are smarter than me. Can you please explain Tenet?
No.
I can explain Tenet, but I can't explain this movie. I can just explain that the kilt-wearing guy is Tim Key, who is a British comedian that I like. And many of the other characters are British comedians that I like. And
well, I recognize Aisling B.
Yeah,
I recognize her from Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
Yes.
All right. So I think the other guys have summed it up pretty well. This movie is desperately trying to be 4 Weddings and a Funeral. It's got kind of a wacky cast of characters. It's definitely full of randomness, tiresome tropes, and it's just odd, right? And to me, the weirdest thing of all is this dollar store Hugh Grant. All right, don't try to be somebody you're not. We've already tried that. Get Drew Barrymore, get Hugh Grant in there if you want to have those characters. This is not the movie to try and. So, I mean, really, if you're looking for 4 Weddings and a Funeral, or if you're looking for, that classic 90s, British comedy, then find a classic 90s British comedy. This isn't one of those romanticized evening, watches, because it does have all this multiverse, Clue-ish feeling to it. It's confusing, it's bizarre, it's 90 minutes worth of frustration if you just want a simple, plain movie. So, again, it's not, what anybody really is wanting. So, no, it's not my cup of tea either. I will give it a meh, just because it didn't offend me, but it didn't really spark any interest either. So, there we go. Meh, right out of the gate. All right. Moving along to something which definitely will have a set opinion about. Redneck Roots. All right. So we'll go in the same order, because I am very interested to hear what everyone thinks about this. I think that we could have a cobbler situation, potentially. So I don't know. I'll let Colin go first, and we'll see what we end up with here. All right, Colin, take it away. Oh, wrong button. That's not Colin. That's Colin.
Yeah. I think, so one of my least favorite genres of movies are people going back to where they came from and finding out that they shouldn't have left, or that they're still the person that left, or anyway, terrible genre, which I think we have way too many of, because once we watched one of them, which was probably the football one, I think the algorithm decided that, you want to watch lots of those. I don't want to watch any of them. At least, the description of this movie made it sound like she was going back home for a high school reunion or something. Said it was just her sister's graduation from her high school class. And that wasn't quite as bad as the usual reunion stories. So woman goes back. You have an entire movie populated with comedic redneck types, including the people who are supposed to be the New York sophisticates, who just look like redneck people dressed up for their Sunday best. It's just okay. I'm going to simplify whether or not you want to watch this movie down to a 2-branch rating. Okay? If you enjoy watching a movie where a character who acts and looks like Ernest is making fun of people with Tourette's, then this movie might be a shnikes. If you have a problem with that, it might be a puke. For me, just because of the huge amount of Ernest, I'm saying like, like Ernest whose friend was Vern, that Ernest, right? Because so much of this movie is Tourette's Ernest, I want to give it a puke.
Oh, tough score. All right, Mike, we are going to you next.
It's you all fancy spinning.
Yeah.
At least this is a short flick, so I don't feel too terrible if this thing goes sideways. Wait a second. Why is the first scene a song at church? Is this a musical? Is this the doubleheader Mike Piss Off Mike feature? No. Okay. Didn't anyone teach these damn rednecks some respect? You take your hat off when you're in church, people. Come on now. And here we are. We're dealing with the live-action dollar store King of the Hill gang talking about the experimental wine cooler or beer chiller built from an old cooler from the consignment store and an old lawnmower engine. Now we got a scene talking about the great Kaka debating and what the hell kind of bus driver dresses like a hooker. Jive talk for crackers. What in the absolute... Ain't it cute when couples have matching convertibles? Here's the answer. Nope. At what point did these two in the jail cell realize they'd talk about the same girl? And, showed her picture. Here we go. Fight. Awesome. Now we best friends. Wonderful. Racist, redneck bullshit thinking that the cabbie is a terrorist. They serve apple pie moonshine. That's the first good thing I've seen in this movie. Is that they actually have apple pie moonshine. Here's the epitome of redneckery right here. They got a graduating class from high school. 2. And the graduation party starts as soon as all of the guests move their folding chairs off of the gymnasium floor. Look, I'm not going to elaborate on this as much as Colin. Look, go watch FDR American Badass before you watch this movie, okay? That's how bad this movie is. Puke. Puke on this one. In fact, kill it with fire. Okay? Who put this on the list? Kill it with fire.
I forgot about that one. But give me that one too.
Okay.
All right. So I watched this today. Now I may not have seen every single moment of it, but we're gonna have a cobbler. We're gonna have a cobbler. Not because I think it's a shnikes. It's not a shnikes. But
the fact that you give this anything but a kill it with fire, it makes it a cobbler. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. All right. One of my wife's favorite movies is Sweet Home Alabama. And this is anti-Sweet Home Alabama. All right? It's like they watched Sweet Home Alabama and said, I want to take this, I want to turn it upside down, I want to run it through a dollar store, and then I want to make a movie out of it. Because that's what they did. All right, this is a dollar store, Sweet Home Alabama porn parody, basically, without any pornography. All right, that's what this is. This is we're gonna flip it a little bit, change a few things so that we don't get sued, and we're gonna make it for a lot cheaper budget, and but we're still gonna have some of the feel of it, except for we're gonna change the ending and we're gonna do some other stuff. All right. Now, Colin, I did think about 3/4 of the way through this movie. Boy, I bet he's not just a perv. He might have Tourette's. And that explains why he's yelling boobies and vagina all the time. That's probably not PC. But then again, most of the movies that I like aren't exactly PC. So they could have done without those parts. I admit, they could have taken those away. It still would have been humorous. I won't say funny, humorous. All right, because I wasn't out laughing. The only parts that I was actually laughing at on this was just those juxtapositions to Sweet Home Alabama. So we had the gay brother instead of the gay friend from high school. All right, and instead of the ex in a husband in Sweet Home Alabama being the glass shop owner with the great new place and doing well for himself and having all this money in the bank account. Well, now we have the dad who was making all these great, urban, things, whatever it was called, and and instead of the divorce paperwork bringing him home, it was the sister's high school graduation, but yet she's driving the short bus for her job, and yeah, that was kind of funny. And I did laugh every time that the convenience store lady interacted with the father, because that was goddamn hilarious. All right. And I did like the dad's inventions. All right. I wish I could drive around on my riding lawnmower, pulling my satellite dish in my lazy boy, staring at my television with speakers on either side of me. I would probably run over more things, but I'd be more comfortable. So, yes, I thought it was funny. I know my wife would hate it, and she would never watch it. And that is one of the reasons why it's getting a smile out of me, because I think that this movie would drive her absolutely wild, because she'd go, I can't believe they took the idea from Sweet Home Alabama and just ruined it like this. And to some degree, I like it when that happens. So it makes me a little happy inside. And it's that little piece of happiness that gives me a good smile. And why I will probably watch this again when she's not around, so that I can just stick the knife in Reese Witherspoon a little bit further. I really want to send this to Reese Witherspoon's Twitter account just so that she can experience this. So anyway, I'm giving it a smile right now.
Send it to Reese Witherspoon. I would love to see you get the hell beat out of you on Twitter for that. All right, 1 to 22.
I think it unofficially was Sweet Home. I mean, I saw that mentioned a lot in relation to it, that it was a parody of Sweet Home Alabama. Mm-hmm. But I've never seen that movie either, and I'm not planning on it.
Sweet Home Alabama I liked, but that was when Josh, what's his name? He was like the hot guy in Hollywood, because he had that, he had Poseidon, he had Stealth all around the same time.
Josh Lucas. Yeah, and now
Lucas.
Now he's just the voice of Home Depot. Or is it Lowe's?
Oh, wow.
I can't remember. But I think he's...
anyway.
Home Depot. He's Home Depot commercial guy.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. 1 through 22 for the next show.
22. Which I did find another movie to add onto there. It's another Vin Diesel movie. I just got to figure out where
Okay, so... All right, so You want to do 1 to 23, and I'll just put Vin Diesel movie to be determined.
You can put The Last Witch Hunter.
That was a real movie, but okay.
That's okay. We're not picking it anyway. 18.
18. Oh, I know this is on there because I think this is a recent ad. Hold on. On Netflix. Oh, yes. Cosmic Sin.
Oh, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Willis is back with his contractual obligated movies. This time, it's science fiction.
Gets 2.5
2.5
out of 10 stars on IMDb. All right, next one, 15.
15. Oh, hold on.
Oh, apparently I'm going to hate this movie.
You are going to hate this movie. Who's Your Caddy on Amazon? I know who added this one, too.
I don't think I did.
No, you didn't. Oh,
the
God, this
description
is
says,
revenge for...
Caddyshack meets barbershop, Colin will hate, end colon. Parentheses, not colon. Parentheses, Colin will hate.
Terry Crews and Jeffrey Jones and
I don't know, man. I love some Terry Crews. So
I don't know how much Terry Crews is in it.
When rap superstar mogul C-Note tries to join the Carolina Pines Golf and Country Club, the establishment's snooty members greet him with opposition. And the reason why I said I think Colin's going to hate it is because there are some scenes where they shoot the stereotypical rap video on the golf course.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of boobies and buttocks.
Also, Lil Wayne is in this one.
Lil Wayne, Big Boy from Outkast, and I think LaFonda from Napoleon Dynamite is in this.
Sherry Shepherd?
That's not LaFonda.
No.
But Sherry Shepherd is in this. And the principal from Ferris Bueller is in this, Jeffrey Jones, and so is the little dude from Bad Santa. So there's a lot of people that you'll recognize, but I just have a feeling that Colin, this is not. Hell, honestly, I think I'm going to hate this now that I'm thinking about it, but
Bruce is in it.
Andy Milonakis is in it.
Oh, great.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, it ought to be fun.
If you're interested to find out if I hate it or it or whatever it is I do it to.
Yes, if you want to find out what Colin does it to, then you can tune into the next show. Oh, yeah. God, I really wish I had porn music right now, just ready to hit the button. It would make a great commercial. Tune in next time to find out how Colin does it. Hint, it's with a CPAP machine at night. Anyway.
That covers 2/3 of the show.
Yeah. Oh, all right, folks. That is going to wrap it up, I think, for tonight. And as soon as I get this working again, then life will be great. All right. So, like I said, that does it for tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks. That is right. That puts us at the 13th. 13th of September is the next night we will be on. By then, we will be past Labor Day. So don't forget to celebrate laboring. All the mothers who went through labor, all the laborers. So if you see somebody laboring, maybe give them a bottle of water. If that's what you feel like. But otherwise, everybody just remember to stay safe. Stay sane and stay tuned in to PTR Radio. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all the Twitch, all the other fun stuff. At PTR Radio is contact information for all that, as well as PTRradio.com is our website where you can find out so much more about the show. Each and every one of us has a section there where you can find out all about us. And remember, if you are listening to the show and you like what you hear, please make sure to tell your friends. If you don't like what you hear, please make sure to tell your friends so that you can subject them to the same type of punishment. Really, that's how we grow, is through you guys spreading the word. Anybody else have anything to add?
Nope.
All right, and so that really does it for us. Everybody just stay tuned. I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mike the Ape Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks, because we are done. Later.